address what Swerve Strickland said on Breakfast Club about the AEW giving him one of the most lucrative contracts in the industry and WWE disagreeing.
Yeah, it's out the window. And like, so last night I came in, you know, Kaz.
Salute to Kaz.
Yeah, shout out Kaz. He invited me on AB to the Apollo Theater to watch the unveiling of the evolution of the black quarterback. And Roger Goodell was there. This is at the Apollo Theater. Roger Goodell was there. I'm watching Michael Strahan on stage, Michael Vick, Jalen Hurts, all talking about the evolution, where they went, all these like struggles that the black quarterback went through, and that like coaches in the league, the infrastructure really thinking like the black man is not capable of playing quarterback because they're not smart enough to call plays and do these things and stuff. And talking about like he shouldn't be paid this wage. He's above market value. And I'm sitting here like, man, there was an article like a month ago about me getting my new contract, one of the highest contracts in wrestling recently, and I'm paid above market value. I'm like, these are like 50 years apart, and we're still having the same conversations. Right. So I like where.
So I just want to stop it right here. Obviously, this is referring to an article that came out a couple weeks ago, I think about a month ago by now, because this came shortly after All In, when Swerve got his contract renewed, and it was reported to be one of AEW's biggest contracts. And honestly, Swerve deserved it. Despite my criticisms and issues with Swerve Strickland's run as champion, I really genuinely believe at the end of the day, the man deserved it. He put in a lot of work to become champion. He put in a lot of work to maintain being champion and try to present himself as best as he possibly could with some of the booking decisions Tony Khan gave him. And even afterwards, he seemed humble enough to move forward and not come off like a pissy pants about not being AEW champion. Even though I felt like it was wrong to put the championship on Bryan Danielson the way that they did it. That's just my opinion, but neither here nor there. The point being, Swerve put in a lot of work, and I think his Hangman feud is his defining moment of, yes, this dude, he's one of those guys. He's a top guy for sure. He is up there with a MJF and Will Ospreay. He absolutely is. And I don't know. I thought that article was very nasty. The way that it read, it was very nasty. And we'll get slightly further into it, but this is just one part to the overall issue with what people had said about Swerve's contract and how WWE quote unquote perceives him in terms of his market value, which sounds nuts, but neither here nor there. There's another part to this interview where he brings it up again, where Charlemagne asks him about the contract, and he responds to it.
About this business, I'm passionate about my company.
She asked you if the money was good. Something was said about you that I've never heard. They said people in the WWE felt your contract was above market price.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody complain that somebody got too much money. That's what they said earlier.
Well, they only complain when a black person gets paid. I will say that when it gets paid. Yeah. And that's what, once again, we shake the foundation and things like that, because it's like, oh, snap, wait. And it's not what we would pay. And I'm like, then why are you calling me? Why are you asking me?
Right.
You know, like if I'm not your concern, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about my pockets and our money. We good. Like you have your talent, and you made your decision with me 2 years ago. No hard feelings from me. Boom, I keep it moving. I'm gonna figure my way out, and I'm gonna build myself up.
Is it true they tried to re-sign you? WWE?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't like the words re-sign. They asked about my availability, you know. So that was like came up, but they never contacted me. They contacted my representation.
So I wanted to comment on this part because the part that has, you know, the incels and goofballs and clowns upset are, you know, the words, you know, that's they get upset when a black man gets paid. And I think honestly, like, it's just true. It's just true. You can be mad about it. But every argument just goes like, oh, the race car, just because you keep regurgitating something doesn't make it valid or a strong argument. Sometimes racism or prejudice can be true. It's not always true. There are plenty of people who use the race card and prejudice for selfish purposes, and it's not true. But Swerve earned his contract. And saying that someone got paid above market value sounds absolutely nuts. I don't know. Again, we don't know who or what department that specifically came from, but that sounds nuts. So I'm not here to rag on WWE again, because I did that in a video before addressing this topic. But I want to just discuss, like, okay, at the end of the day, my thing is this. Swerve is allowed to feel like especially black male wrestlers are not treated and seen with much high value, because the trajectory in WWE when it comes to black male wrestlers, it's not all that great, right? They're not always shooting through the Milky Way. They're not rising above the galaxy and going through the entire universe and experiencing everything to make themselves the biggest star that they possibly could be. Most times, black male wrestlers don't get to see that real main event star persona or push. Sure, you have Kofi, who wins a WWE championship and then loses and gets treated like garbage by Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley, same thing. And it's a meme even now in the community. But you will still have people swear up and down it's just unreasonable and unfair to claim something as racially motivated or some type of prejudice. Now, he didn't say racism in this interview, but I think at the end of the day, he has a right to say that there is some type of look from the deep executive side of WWE that doesn't see black males as top guys, as guys who can be lead ambassadors of the company, the guys who go and do the big major public appearances. And I think that really sucks. I think that's really, really garbage. Because a lot of these guys, even if they get the WWE championship or maybe get a World Heavyweight Championship, they're not pushed like a Seth Rollins. They're not pushed like a Jon Moxley. They're not pushed like a Roman Reigns. And I think that's garbage. They're not pushed like a Kevin Owens, a Sami Zayn. They're just not. They're not pushed as like consistently year in, year out top guys. Like when Sami and Kevin Owens are in mid-card feuds or matches, they don't necessarily feel like mid-carders. Even if they are in mid-card territory, they don't feel like mid-carders. And I think at the end of the day, no one in WWE has the right to say what someone market value is, and especially when it comes to black male wrestlers. The women's side, genuinely, and I have to give them this, genuinely pretty good. I mean, Bianca Belair, obviously one of the top wrestlers in WWE, period. But more so, obviously, the women's side. But is Bianca Belair like the person that they use for like their biggest and best promotion? And the answer is no. The argument is, well, she's not that status. That's true. And I think that's true for women's wrestling in general. They're not to that status. And that's why I say it is problematic for a statement like market value to be made when discussing someone like Swerve Strickland, who has reached a status to be on that level with a MJF, with a Will Ospreay. These guys should be your torchbearers, the people who carry the torch of AEW, the people who shine the light of AEW. When you think of AEW, you should think Will Ospreay, MJF, Swerve Strickland. So Swerve has a right and is justified in saying what he said, Because in this, and to be fair, to make this statement clear, this applies to the majority of wrestling. It does. You don't see that many black wrestlers being the top guy of their promotions. The one that I seen recently was Michael Oku, and I had a light shined on him by the MJF match. MJF versus Michael Oku gave me light to who he was and what he represented. So, I mean, that was really refreshing. Moose in TNA, I believe, was like that as well. You know, top guy, pushed as their brand's, you know, number one guy, the guy to represent TNA. So Swerve, in my opinion, is right. WWE does not have the track record to really kind of make a statement like that, and I don't think any wrestler in WWE, discounting the frickin' Rock, because it's the Rock, and I don't want to get too deep on that conversation because the guy is more happy to be Samoan than he is, you know, African American or black or whatever. So that's neither here nor there. The point being is that they don't have the strongest track record when it comes to respecting and pushing black male wrestlers. And I think that's a conversation that should be had more. To say that WWE does not have top black male talent is a load of crap. NXT is freaking loaded. And when Carmelo Hayes was over there, he was doing perfectly fine. So that's a load of crap, and you're just lying to yourself. Carmelo Hayes is someone who should be in a position like a Braun Breaker. He is genuinely amazing. But just because he's not getting pushed good doesn't mean he's not a talent who can perform at the level of a Braun Breaker. So for the people who say Carmelo's not there, just shut up. You're just weird. You're just weird. You're just weird. Montez Ford was ready at Elimination Chamber, and I think everybody agreed he was ready for a push, a singles push. And then WWE did nothing with him. I think obviously because of Vince McMahon, but neither here nor there. I'm not putting that on Triple H. But at the end of the day, Swerve has a right to say what he said. But WWE has the opportunity to change the narrative completely. You have Swerve. You have, no, you do not have Swerve. You have Carmelo Hayes, Oba Femi, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Wes Lee. You just have a pool of talent of black male wrestlers that are just unbelievable. So just change the narrative. That's it. If it's not true, change the narrative. That's all I really got to say. I love where Swerve Strickland is, and I hope his career goes well. I would like him to be in WWE because AEW kind of sucks right now and it's garbage, but that's just my opinion. But I'm happy he is the top guy, or one of the top guys at AEW. And I hope, everything goes amazing when it comes to this feud with Hangman. I hope Hangman wins the AEW championship and eventually Swerve wins it by beating Hangman clean. But yep, those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. And let me know what you think. Join the Discord and I'm out. Peace.